Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive? Today we're going to be getting into something a little bit different.
Yeah,
It's fascinating though.
definitely.
We're talking of the ethics of cleaning gravestones.
Hmm.
But there's a twist.
Okay.
It's about cleaning them for online content.
That is interesting how something like cleaning, you know,
Right.
could be so complex when you add in like online stuff and respect for the deceased and, their families.
Exactly. And the source material we're looking at today is an opinion piece about this TikToker clean girl.
Okay.
Maybe you've seen her videos. She got popular for cleaning all kinds of crazy stuff,
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen one.
like really gross bathrooms.
Right, right.
But now she's moved on to cleaning these neglected gravestones.
Hmm.
And let me tell you, the comments on those videos are wild.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see how that would bring up some strong opinions.
For sure.
It really highlights that whole thing you see online all the time, that tension between, wanting to help
Yeah.
and wanting to promote yourself.
Oh.
Like, is she really trying to do a good thing, or is it more about getting views and likes?
It's a great question. And the source we're looking at definitely has some doubts about Clean Girl's whole random act of kindness thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They point out that her videos are monetized, there's product placements, and they're often exactly 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
Perfect for those mid-roll ads.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of videos seem to hit that sweet spot for ads.
Right. It makes you wonder.
It really makes you think about the bigger picture, too. Like,
Yeah.
what does altruism even mean in the digital age?
Totally.
Can something be truly selfless if you're also making money from it?
It's a tough question. And the source also digs into Clean Girl's online persona a little bit,
Okay.
which is another thing that seems to be rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah, her tone is definitely kind of, I don't know, a
Yeah.
little off-putting sometimes, especially when she's talking about, death.
Right. It's like she's trying to be super upbeat and positive,
Yeah.
but it just feels out of place in a cemetery.
Yeah, definitely. There's a certain respect and solemnity that's kind of missing.
Yeah. And the source gives this example where Clean Girl finds a double grave, a couple who died within a year of each other.
Oh, wow.
And her reaction is kind of shocking.
What does she say?
She says, "Less than a year later, he was heartbroken. That makes me so sad. I can't lie this." And then it's bleeped. Makes my skin crawl.
Oh, yikes.
It's that kind of language that's really causing a lot of the controversy.
I can see why people would be upset. I mean, death and grief are such personal experiences,
For sure.
and approaching them with that kind of detachment just feels wrong.
Absolutely. And it gets even more interesting when you compare Clean Girl to this other content creator.
Okay.
The source doesn't name them, but this other person also cleans graves, but they have a completely different approach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, they actually research the people who are buried there.
Wow.
They talk about their lives with respect.
That's nice.
And they seem genuinely focused on preserving this site as a place of remembrance.
That's a really powerful contrast.
It is. It really shows you how important context and sensitivity are.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with a space like a cemetery.
Exactly. It's not just a random collection of stones.
Right. It's a tangible connection to people's lives, their families, their communities.
For sure. And you know what might be the most controversial part of all this?
What's that?
Clean Girl's cleaning methods.
Oh,
They're definitely raising some eyebrows.
like what kind of things is she doing?
Well, for starters, the source mentions that she chooses which grave to clean
Yeah.
by literally rolling a ball at them.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a morbid game of bingo.
Wow. That's
I
kind
know.
of strange.
It is. And that randomness is actually what a lot of people are finding disrespectful.
I can see that.
Like, these graves represent real people.
Right, with families who might still visit.
Exactly.
Right.
So cleaning a grave without even trying to understand that context
Yeah,
can feel really intrusive, even if you have good intentions.
definitely. And is that the only thing she does that people are questioning?
Oh no, there's more. Apparently, she's been seen using a vacuum cleaner on headstones.
A vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, unplugged, of course.
Okay, but still.
And she replaces real flowers. The kind that loved ones might have left
Right.
with fake ones.
Oh, wow. Some cemeteries actually ban fake flowers.
Exactly.
So she's not even following the rules of the cemetery.
It seems like it. And all of this is sparking debate about whether she's actually causing harm.
Harm.
Yeah. Beyond just being disrespectful. Like vacuuming a headstone can damage the material,
Oh, right.
and removing things like flowers or mementos.
Yeah.
It basically erases those little ways that families remember their loved ones.
It's like she's imposing her own idea of what's appropriate on a space that's really personal for other people.
Exactly. And the example that seems to have really gotten people fired up is when she cleaned a baby's grave.
A baby's grave.
Yeah, and she
Ugh.
even washed the stuffed animals that were left there.
Oh, gosh, I can't even imagine.
It's a really tough situation.
For sure.
And you can imagine how emotionally charged it is for the parents.
Absolutely. Those items might be the only things they have left that still hold their child's scent.
Right, and to have a stranger come in and wash those away,
Yeah.
even with good intentions,
It could be devastating.
it could. The article actually includes some comments from Clean Girls videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the reactions are all over the place.
I bet.
Some people are criticizing her, saying things like, the vacuum felt so disrespectful,
Right.
while others are defending her, saying she's helping grave sites by cleaning them.
So it's a real moral gray area.
It is, and that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating.
Even if her intentions are good,
Yeah,
do the methods and the potential for harm outweigh any benefit?
exactly. And
Yeah.
can you even separate the cleaning from the way she's presenting it online?
That's a good question.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Definitely. And you know what this whole situation makes me think about?
What's that?
This whole trend of performative altruism. Oh, yeah.
It seems like everyone's documenting their good deeds these days, posting it all over social media.
Like, is it even a good deed if you don't film it?
Right. It makes you wonder about people's motivation.
Totally.
Are they really trying to help, or is it more about building a following?
It's a tough question.
It is. And it's something we all have to think about as we navigate this digital world.
For sure.
Even good deeds can become a form of content these days.
Absolutely. And I wonder, would Clean Girl even be cleaning these graves if she couldn't film it?
It's hard to know.
It is. But it's a valid question to ask ourselves when we see these kinds of videos online.
Definitely. I think it's important to be critical of what we see online,
Yeah.
not just take things at face value.
Especially when it comes to something as sensitive as death.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to remember that our actions online can have real-world consequences.
For sure. And it's so easy to get caught up in the heartwarming feeling of these videos.
Right.
But this source is really pushing us to look beyond that initial reaction.
To consider the downsides.
And the ethical complexities.
Exactly. They actually use a pretty strong phrase.
Oh,
They say Clean Girl might be unintentionally destroying loved ones' memories
wow.
by cleaning away the very things that connect them to the deceased.
That's a really powerful statement.
It is. It highlights how important consent is.
Yeah.
And understanding the different ways people grieve.
Exactly. We can't assume that our idea of what's respectful
Right.
is the same for everyone else.
Especially when it comes to something as personal as a gravesite.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Even with good intentions, we can overstep boundaries and cause unintended harm.
And I think so much of this comes down to empathy, putting ourselves in the shoes of those families.
Yeah.
Before we do something, we should ask ourselves, would I want someone doing this to my loved one's grave?
Right.
Would their family appreciate it, or would they feel violated?
Those are such important questions.
They are. And this conversation isn't just about Clean Girl. She's just one example of a much bigger trend.
This is really a microcosm of how we deal with sensitive issues online.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that our actions online,
Even those with good intentions
yeah,
can have real consequences.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest takeaways for our listener today
Yeah.
is to be mindful
And critical.
of what we see online,
Don't just accept things at face value.
especially when it comes to sensitive topics like death and grief.
We're bombarded with so much information these days.
It's overwhelming.
It's easy to get swept up in the emotion of a viral video, but this deep dive is a reminder to take a step back,
Right.
to question what we're seeing,
To engage with empathy.
and a critical eye.
Earlier, we talked about those conflicting comments on Clean Girl's videos.
Right. Some people supporting her, others criticizing her.
Exactly. How do we make sense of those opposing viewpoints?
Well, I don't think it's about picking a side or
Yeah.
saying one side is right and the other is wrong. It's about recognizing that this is a complex issue with no easy answers.
Right.
Different people are going to have different perspectives.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Okay.
What matters is that we try to understand where those different perspectives are coming from.
That makes sense. That moral gray area again.
Exactly.
This whole situation forces us to confront some uncomfortable questions.
About our own value.
Yeah, and how we navigate the online world.
Do we prioritize the feel-good narrative?
Or do we dig deeper and consider the consequences?
Even if they're unintended.
And I think the most important question to ask here,
Especially in relation to Clean Girl, is this. If she truly wants to help, how could she change her approach? to make grave cleaning a collaborative act of respect.
Instead of a source of controversy.
Exactly.
That's a great question.
Can you balance good intentions with ethical execution online?
I don't know the answer to that.
It's something for all of us to think about.
It is. Because this deep dive isn't just about cleaning graves.
It's about how we engage with sensitive issues in a public digital age.
Well said. It looks like we've reached the end of part 1 of our deep dive.
Into the ethics of cleaning gravestones for content.
It's been quite a journey so far.
It has, and we're just getting started.
We'll be back soon with part 2.
Where we'll delve even deeper into this complex and fascinating topic.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about respecting the family's wishes when it comes to these graves.
Yeah.
But what about the wishes of the deceased themselves?
Oh, that's a really good point.
Right?
One that I think gets missed a lot, actually.
It does.
Like, we assume cleaning a grave is always a good thing. But what if the person who's buried there wanted something different?
Exactly. What if they were totally fine with their grave being,
more natural?
Yeah, like with moss growing on the stone and stuff.
It makes you think.
It does. It's like we get so caught up in our own ideas.
About what a grave should look like.
Right. And we forget to think about what the person themselves might have wanted.
It's a good reminder that death isn't just about the living. It's about honoring the person who died.
And that honor might not be what we expect.
Exactly.
Like a perfectly clean grave might look good in a photo, but is it really what that person would have wanted?
It's a great question.
Does it truly honor their memory?
Those are questions we should be asking.
Both individually and as a society.
Absolutely.
How do we move beyond just the surface level?
On the cleaning.
Yeah, and really engage with death and remembrance in a way that's authentic.
And respectful.
And most importantly, aligned with the values of the deceased.
It's a big topic for sure.
It is. But it's an important one.
Especially as the lines between the physical and digital worlds get blurrier.
Yeah. Our actions online can have real-world consequences.
Even if we have good intentions.
And when it comes to something like death, we need to be thoughtful.
Empathetic.
And respectful.
This deep dive has really made me think about all of this.
Me too. It's been a journey.
It has. We've explored so many different aspects.
The good intentions.
Self-promotion. Sensitivity.
Yeah.
And of course, we're left with more questions than answers.
As always.
But that's what a deep dive is all about.
It is. It's about sparking your curiosity.
Challenging your assumptions.
And encouraging you to keep thinking about these things.
The world is full of gray areas. Ethical dilemmas.
It can be tough to navigate.
But it's important to engage with these complex issues.
To ask the hard questions.
And to have those tough conversations.
With empathy and respect.
Exactly. This deep dive has really highlighted that.
It has. And on that note,
we've reached the end of our deep dive
into the ethics of cleaning gravestones for content.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
We'll leave you with this final thought.
Imagine you found a stranger cleaning your loved one's grave.
And filming it for the internet?
How would you feel?
Would it be a kind gesture?
Or a violation?
Take some time to think about that.
It might reveal more about your own values than you expect.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.